What's up, everybody? Hey, how's it going? Let's make sure we go live on Instagram here. Hey, everybody, how's it going? I'm Charlie. You're watching Christmas on Crestline, but you're not watching any old Christmas on Crestline. No, no, you're not. Here with me today is Brian Michaels, who won the Light Fight last year. Hey, buddy, how's it going?
Good afternoon, Charlie Byers, man. Good to see my good friend again.
Heck yeah, good to see you. Thanks for being on the show today, man. How you doing?
I'm doing awesome. Thanks for having me, and really excited to be here at Christmas on Crestline. I hope you're not spinning around still from your vertigo.
No, I'm settled. I'd say I'm probably 97% golden right now. But yeah, appreciate you bringing that up. If you've never had vertigo, don't get vertigo. Having vertigo is stupid. So
Well, I'm
for the
glad you're
folks
better.
that don't know you, can you tell us who you are and what you do in the Christmas space?
I certainly can do that, Charlie. If you want to share that screen too, we got some information up there. My name's Brian Michael. I live in Hatfield, Pennsylvania. And if you're not familiar with Pennsylvania, it is literally about 30 miles outside of Philadelphia. And it's situated right between Philly and the good old town of Bethlehem, PA, or if you know Billy Joel, living here in Allentown. So it's a great place to live. It is a suburb, but a pretty populated one. I've been in the Christmas space my whole life, but the reality is I've been really active in it since meeting my wife, Kimberly. Um, we met back in 1993 while the Phillies were in the World Series, and I'm hoping they're there again this year as we get ready to start October baseball. And we got married in 97, had our first house in 98. And that's when we began this obsession of extreme Christmas decorating. Now, I got some images up here. If you look at that picture on my top right, that is what really inspired me. That apartment is where I did my first display. I thought that was around 1980. My mom tells me I was 6 years old, so it would have been in the 70s. And we entered the apartment community decorating contest and we took first place. And what's really cool is on the light fight, they use that image in that same exact story. And that's one thing you'll find about me. I've been in space a long time. I know a lot of people through a lot of different communities, going all the way back to the old Planet Christmas days in 2000, and as well as all the shows in between. And I'm pretty consistent and like to help people. But I am a big blow mold collector. To date, Kim's probably listening here, but we have over 1,000 blow molds between all the different holidays. The bulk of them are in Christmas, followed by Halloween. And I am about out of space. If you're not familiar, there are about 200 plus new blow molds coming out this year. They're making a comeback through some of the Chinese manufacturers and coming out through the major retailers. I'm even passing on them, which I would never, ever do before. We were on the light fight last year. We were season 11, episode 6, and we were the third family in. I'll share more of that a little bit later. And that's a picture of our display there. And on the right is us holding the trophy with the wonderful Tanya Nayak as our host, who was absolutely amazing to have. So other parts of my display include my wife, Kim, who I mentioned. I'll talk about her a little bit later. And then I have my son, Joseph, and my daughter, Elise. So their daughter's going to be 21 and my son's going to be 24. And I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but you can kind of guess.
Fair enough. So let's do a quick roll call before we get too in depth here. We got Rob coming in saying, let's go. We got Gabo tuning in from Mexico. Viva Mexico. Let's see here. We got Lights and Lights saying, hi, everybody. What's up, Lights and Lights? So we got the Slankers hailing from the great state of Oklahoma tuning in. We got Giatano. I'm here. Where's the tequila? Where's the tequila indeed? Actually, I have what we had tailgating over here yesterday, so I think have about a gallon of margaritas left from yesterday's tailgate. We got SOK saying hello all. We got Steve tuning in saying let's go.
I like it.
Heck yeah, Kurt's tuning in from Florida. Dylan from South America. Hey Charlie, hope you're feeling better. Yes, vertigo is about 90% down. We get Josh tuning in. What's up, Josh? Yeah, holiday lighting and decorations. Brian, you better have that trophy all polished up. You're getting called out there, Brian.
Maybe.
We got Eddie tuning in. What's up, Eddie? Monty tuning in. Hello, Monty. We got Chad. Hey, Charlie. Hope I am feeling better. Thank you ever so much. Eddie KZRCs. What's up, Eddie? Haven't seen you in a few episodes. Good to have you back. We got Corey tuning in, watching from Aurora, Colorado. Every time I hear Aurora, Colorado, I think of Wayne's World. That's Aurora, Illinois, but either way. Bill Parrish tuning in. What's up, Bill? So Kurt got Kurt on the brain. So Brian, can you tell us what is a fun fact about you that we may not know or might be surprised to learn?
Ooh. I got a couple. One
Okay.
is uh, back when I was younger, I used to be a DJ. So I used to lug
Oh, all
around.
right.
It's when records were out. You know, they're popular again now, but it's when you had the big giant records.
Yeah.
And I had the big DJ coffin. I had my Techniques 1200 turntables and used to lug that stuff around, do school dances, block parties, things of that nature. So that's
Nice.
a fun fact. Another cool one, and it kind of ties with another one of your past guests, is I used to be an amateur sponsored freestyle BMX rider.
Really?
Yes. So I used to do stunts on bikes, nothing like they do today, but I was sponsored by two different bike teams, and we were also sponsored by GT Bikes, Dyno. And I used to travel around and do shows all over the place, ride ramps, do flatland tricks. So that's another fun thing.
Nice. So yeah, got you. We got Jr. as the two BMX guys.
Yeah, he was the racer, and I was the guy doing the tricks. I'm cooler.
All right. There you go. Heck yeah. So you talked a minute ago about how you got into to why you got into holiday lighting, but you got into it at a really early age, though, didn't you?
Yeah, like I said, we was about 6 years old, and we lived literally right on the outskirts of Philadelphia. And my mom would take me into the city as well as my dad. My grandparents lived down close to Center City, and we used to drive through. And back in the day, there was a lot of Christmas lights. And when we would stop back, we would stop at a garden center. It was called Gaudio's, and my mom would let me buy decorations. And I typically bought blow molds. And one of the first blow molds I bought was an Empire Nativity set. And then outside of that, we had a lot of big destination displays around us. And unfortunately,
Mhm.
and maybe it's something we can talk about today, it's good to see all these young people. A lot of those displays are gone. So they inspired me.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to inspire future generations. And that was another theme in our Light Fight episode so that they can continue it on when we can't do it anymore, Charlie, when you're doing your projection
Yeah.
mapping.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's a great reason. Thank you for bringing that. That's kind of why. Well, when I started doing this channel, I did it for two reasons. One, sometimes, not every time, and not everybody, but sometimes we need a little extra push to start hanging lights and to start doing things. And the kind of Christmas Expo is kind of the unofficial kickoff to Christmas. But I was like, if I had a Christmas channel, I'd be doing Christmas year round, so I would just know when to start. So but yeah, and passing it on to the next generation. I think you're right. So growing up, you and me, we had different types of events to go to than what the youngsters do now. Now it's drone shows and fireworks. And before it was blow molds and just static displays.
Yeah, I can tell you we have, even before we did Light Fight, there's at least three local young men. Um, I think the youngest is only 12, 13. And then I have another gentleman who's
Ooh,
applied for Light Fight a couple times. It's great to mentor them and talk Christmas and have somebody else that understands the hobby and that you can inspire. So it's fun. If you're not doing that today, I really encourage you to find somebody that you can mentor, and you'll create some lifelong friends, just like me and Charlie here when we met at the expo.
yep, yep. We hit it off instantly. Your wife, my wife Kim, is freaking awesome. Yeah, so we talked about this off camera, obviously, but yeah, I like the expo. The camaraderie there was better than say Trans World because Trans World is thousands of people, and then you just leave and you go home. Whereas Expo, you stick around and you talk with everybody. It's just chit chatting about Christmas lights. It's freaking awesome.
It is. And Kim thought the same thing before that. She's like, "What the heck are you watching?" When I used to be watching your channel
Yeah.
before I met you and started talking to you and joining it, she's like, "What are you watching?" I'm like, "That's Charlie Byers." Now
Heck yes, Charlie Bars.
she watches too.
No, I appreciate Kim. Kim's watching from somewhere. Let's see here. So, um, you started around 98 doing your show, but to take it to that next level, to go from a display to an extreme display, talk to us about that transition and was there a light bulb moment or is it just gradual how you went to an extreme light show or extreme
It was
decorating show?
gradual, but it was fairly quick. So we had our first house in '98. It was a little Cape Cod in the suburbs of the Philly area, and um, didn't take a lot to decorate. We had to acquire decorations, but there was an old elementary school that was converted to a thrift shop. It was big, and I was walking through there one day, and they had a ton of old vintage blow molds back when you could grab them and buy them for $2, $3. So I grabbed up a bunch of them, and then I started going to all your big box stores buying your incandescent lights. And then the next error was with about it in a year or two, I was buying direct from blow mold manufacturers. I used to get boxes shipped direct from Union Products. I used to get containers from GP, General Plastics. Never did do the Empire thing. They had a larger limit, but I would go to a local garden center and make a buy with him. And then after that, it was like everybody else. It was the clearance Christmas specials where it just blew up. I would come home every day with lots and lots of blow molds. I'd have to sneak them in. Kim knows now, so I can say that. But I had to sneak them in, Charlie.
It's like, what's that underneath your arm there, Brian? You have nothing to see here, Kim. This is not the blow mold you're looking for.
But she's, we evolved from there and further. And, from blow molds, we're now a destination display that has everything in it. Interactive, wire frames, DIY, animatronics. So a lot of cool stuff.
So Dylan's saying he loves it. It's exactly what he's hoping to do there in South Africa, is to bring inspiration to others and to bring the joy to the kids. And Giatano is saying that a 7-year-old walking through his display 5 years ago pushes him to do more. By the nice. 7-year-old saying it's magical. And Evelyn, what's up, Evelyn? Saying something's wrong with the audio. I'm hearing everything fine on my end. If you guys are also having problems, let us know. Evelyn's awesome. Evelyn's been tuning in a bunch, and Evelyn's been watching the show for years. She's cool.
Nice. We saw her flowers last year. Last week on your show. I don't have any flowers yet, Evelyn, but maybe.
Let's see here. Giatano saying it's fine. Oh, fine. Audio's fine to you. Okay. When I first started, I used to have to sneak them in on my parents. Nice. See, Rob saying, Brian, you told me to wait till today. What states have the shows not been in yet?
I'll tell you that when we get to Light Fight, but it is 13 states. And so far, what I know coming up for this year's, they still haven't hit those states. But I still we'll talk about that. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Okay. We're going to talk a ton about Light Fight today. If you guys have your questions, put your questions in the chat. We'll get them answered for you. One thing I'm curious about is your blow mold collection. So in the July extravaganza, we were supposed to have Dr. Blowmold on. That did not happen, unfortunately. But for the current reigning blow mold expert we have here, Brian, and I would be silly to have you on the show and not ask, what do you do to protect your blow molds, be it from sun fade or storm damage? What do you do to safeguard those awesome little gadgets?
There are a lot of tricks in the industry. I'm by no means an expert. There's a lot more talent out there than me that does restorations, but I have restored quite a bit. I'll start with this first, Charlie. Blow molds are meant to be seen and enjoyed. Yes, there are some rare ones now since all the manufacturers have gone out, but every blow mold I own, it goes out in my yard every year, including my most precious blow molds that can be worth a significant amount of money. I put them out there. So how do I keep them in good shape? One, it's securing them. You got to make sure you secure them so they're not bouncing around and falling over. Two, some people put clear coat on it. I don't always do that. Sometimes that actually melts the paint off, depending on the mold, especially the newer molds. Sometimes it's just minimizing how long you have them out. And we didn't talk about it yet, but my display has moved across the country twice. From Pennsylvania, we moved to Oklahoma City area and lived there for almost 9 years. And talk about a difference in weather. I went from fairly calm weather to, I call it a hair dryer there. In the summertime, it's 30, 40 mile per hour winds and it's 100 degrees. And then the wintertime, it gets cold, but the wind's still there. But then you get a lot of sun all year long. So the more UV out there, maybe the Krylon protectant. But the next is just it doesn't matter what decoration type you pick, wire frames, animatronics, blow molds, probably even projection mapping because of the equipment. You're going to have to do maintenance on them at one point in time. It really doesn't matter. So you just got to keep up on it. And when you get a large collection, you got to be a little selective on what ones you put out maybe a little less or bring in sooner. And it's fun. I'll show. So I got some show and tell here for a little bit later. I'll show you some stuff that we're fixing or have fixed.
Very, very nice. I know a lot of folks watching today, a lot of folks tuning in the chat even have a ton of blow molds themselves. So that's always cool.
Nice.
Well, what is it about blow molds themselves that kind of drew you to them to begin with? Why blow molds?
Well, I think for a lot of people that collect blow molds, it seems to be that era from, the 50s is where the harder plastic styrene came up, and then the blow molds started coming in the 60s and 70s. Then you had latex decorations around that same time. I think it's the 3D figural aspect of them. They
Hmm.
were mostly affordable, easy to collect. They're in designs that bring memories of Christmas, whether it's Santa Claus
Yeah.
or a licensed character. And then as you get older, maybe your parents got rid of them, and you're now doing your own display. When you find them, it just brings back that childhood memories. I mean, that's why I like them. I like other decorations. I really, really do. I love all kinds of displays,
Yeah.
pixels, blow molds, even drones. But blow molds is what brings the memories.
Yeah. Eddie's saying the new blow molds have terrible paint. He's having to clear coat most of them.
That's probably true. A lot of the paint is getting better. I brought some props. Not, I just grabbed some. I've been out like probably many of you out hunting blow molds. This is one of the new tabletops this year. Bluey, which I didn't know who Bluey was. I remember somebody talking about when you do a show, you got to kind of know all your old characters because you never know who you're going to interview. But I think it was a Santa Claus at Christmas Expo was saying that you got to know everything so you can talk to all kinds of audiences. But this is one of the new tabletops, and the paint's actually pretty good. This is you could display this outside, but I'm just kind of all my little tabletops for the newer ones in my garage. They just sit up there so I can look at them. I don't even put them outside, not because I don't want to. It's just they're hard to display. But the paint's getting better on them. And if you look at some of I'll grab another one here. This is going to be really popular this year if you haven't seen it yet. This is Pluto by Jemmy. This is the hot blow mold right now. There's a couple other ones, but this is the hot one right now. Sold through Walmart. Walmart's already setting up. If you haven't already looked throughout the country, matter of fact, I ran out to lunch today and I ran into a fellow blow mold collector looking for blow molds. So this is the hot one, but the paint is really improved. The lighting's improved, and they even come with C7 LED light bulbs in them now, which is pretty impressive. So yeah, the paint definitely is questionable. The old ones held up better. They fade. What happens with the older ones is they more fade and hold their color, whereas the new ones sometimes it flakes off. And it's probably about prep, but they're getting better. They're getting better, Charlie.
Yeah. I see you have a blow. Is that a blow mold head behind you? Correct.
Oh, yeah, when talk, that's part of the show. I don't
Yeah.
keep it
Yeah.
there all year long.
Fair enough.
Well, I'll cover
How
that
do you
in a minute.
store? How do you store all your display? You have to rent a storage shed. You have an outbuilding.
Everything I own is stored on property. I am close to out of space. I've made some decisions to sell off some stuff that I don't use that often, or maybe it's somebody else might have fun in restoring it, and I'm not interested in that because of other pieces. So everything's on site.
Yeah.
It's in outbuildings, in the little pool house we have. It's in the garage, above the garage. There's nothing in bathrooms or anything like that. However, I have taken over some closets in the basement. I've taken that over. So uh, they're all over. It can be challenging, not just blow mold, but I have some commercial displays and commercial pieces, and a lot of my animatronic figures are really big. They take up space, so
Hmm.
it does become a challenge, and that's when you got to start getting selective about what are you going to collect, or what are you going to cut it off, or are you going to add storage. I really do not want to go off site, and I probably will never do that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I have some friends that are off site solely, and that's just a pain. I have to run back and forth. And one of my buddies, his storage shed's probably 10 miles away, so make a bunch of trips, and it's just kind of a pain. So for restoration, what has been your most challenging restoration, or has it been a challenging restoration project for any of your blow molds? One you had to keep, you couldn't get rid of, you wanted to make sure it stood around. Anything come to mind?
Yeah, hold on one second. Let me. So one of the there's two pieces that I've had to restore. There's multiple I've restored, but let me show you two here. I'm going to change screens, Charlie. You can share it in a minute.
Yeah,
Let me know when you get that up there.
it's not popping up on my end. Nice. The beauty of technology. So we will get yeah, up there it is. Okay. Let me
That's
add
weird.
that. Oh, look at that.
When I changed, it went away. So um, I'll talk about two pieces that I put together, some images for you. So this ties into probably, and maybe you're going to ask it, Charlie, what's my most prized piece? And this is a prized piece of many blow mold collectors. It's up there as the number one or two. This is the Polaron swinging Santa. Um, Roughly 1969 to 71, somewhere in there. There's other versions, but it's been in catalog. So I estimate it right around when I was born. So this piece is over 50 years old, and I've restored it twice. So a cool story here. So my father-in-law, he does antiques and toys and trains and things like that nature, and he has a booth in a co-op shop. And about 20, a little over 20 years ago, he came home, and if you look at the top left there on the picture, you see the Santa where I'm stripping the paint. He drops off a Santa Claus all in pieces like that and says somebody dumped it on the back of their shop, and they're not a Goodwill or whatever, and they couldn't keep it. So he brought it home because he knew it was Christmas and gave it to me. So it was almost in a condition like that. I don't think that would happen today. These antique stores kind of know where this stuff is at. So I restored it once then, and I didn't do that good of a job because I didn't have the experience. There are sites out there. Blowmold Nation is a great site, and they have resources about how to restore blow molds. But this was the one I just restored about for the second time 4 or 5 years ago. Stripped it all the way down and took about 2 months to get it restored. And this is featured nice and centered in our display every year. Rechanged the motors, redid the mechanics in it, repaired some plastic in it. And this is probably my most favorite piece in the display. I also own the variation of this. If you watch our episode or if you've been to my display, up on the roof, I have the half version that has the chimney, and that is up on my roof. And taking it back to my story in Oklahoma, not knowing what I was getting into when I moved there with the wind, it actually blew off one time, but survived. So this is the first piece, Charlie. And then the next one is its counterpart. And this is a little more extreme repair. You should be seeing the matching Polaron swinging snowman. And so 2 years ago, after our episode of Light Fight, and this was prominently pictured next to Tanya Nyack in the episode, I went to put it away, and I went to grab it, and it literally fell apart in my hands there. These things get brittle over time. So I put it in my basement. Things I'm going to try to fix or maybe get rid of or sell, I keep in my basement and not put them away. That way I can get to them over the off season. And I finally tackled this, and this is an extreme repair. And thanks to some of the blow mold sites like Blowmold Nation and Blow Mold Collectors, heard about these moldable plastic pellets. There's some here. I don't know if you can see them on the screen, but these things are absolutely amazing. You can see at the bottom right there when he's back together, it hardens up, it's translucent, and it is very easy to work with. And if I don't like my repair, I can heat it up with an air dryer, pull it back out, and redo it. It comes in pellets and containers in different sizes. You can get it in packets like this. And then I found out afterwards it actually comes in sheets like transparent projector sheets that you can layer on and heat up and shape. So excellent repair. If you mess up, you heat it up and take it off. So if you want to try to repair blow molds, give that stuff a try. But they were my two challenging pieces, Charlie.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, that thing's got a huge hole in it, and you went from that. That's awesome. I didn't even know you could repair blow molds with new plastic. That's freaking interesting.
And luckily,
awesome.
where it broke, the paint wasn't able to touch. That's the original paint. I was able to leave that. So, yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Catch up on the comments here right quick. Rob's wanting to know, do you know why they're making so many smaller blow molds now?
Yeah, one of the biggest complaints of the newest blow molds is the size. So obviously they make tabletops, and that's very common, but most of the other ones are 24 inches or smaller. Frankly, it's the cost of the molds to make, and it's shipping containers. Everything's coming over from China. It's whatever you can fit in a container. Now, there are a lot of larger ones this year that are 36 inches. Some are taller. So I think they're getting there. I think they're hearing the feedback. And because blow molds are on a resurgence, I think you'll see more of the taller ones around.
Giotano's got a great question. How do you secure them if you're putting them on a concrete surface? Do you put sand in them, or what's your trick?
Yeah, so I only have a few that I put on anything that's not grass or dirt, and that's on my patio. In those, I'd take a sandbag and fill it up, or you could put bolts, nuts, whatever, and put in the bottom. Nothing's more annoying to me, though, as a collector, when I go to buy a blow mold from somebody and it's filled with rocks and sand. So you could do that, but there's another gentleman that lives in New York, and I don't want to give their name in case they don't want to call it there, but he's a big collector, and he's on the sites. His display's on concrete, and I think he takes sometimes pallets, or you cut plywood and bolt things at the bottom. So there's ways to do it. It's just a little more work and probably labor to take it apart unless you can store it like that. But great question.
One question I get a lot that I have no answer to is where do you find the rare blow molds? Is it antique stores? Do they just not exist anymore? Where do you find your blow molds at?
Yeah, so the older ones, it used to be before the days of eBay and the resurgence of blow molds and resellers that
Mm.
you could find them literally at yard sales. Big chunk of my collection, I've bought pieces for $1.50. The snowman I just
Nice.
showed you I repaired, I bought that from my neighbor for $20. I have a second version that I found at a flea market. I paid $50 for. The Santa I got for free. So that's the best place. But then it was trading. You get into these groups, people will trade.
Ooh.
There'll be swap meets. Um, you'll become friends with collector, and they might want something that you have, and you do some trades. And then outside of that, you do have to succumb to either just keep hunting or go to Macari or any of those sites, eBay, or buy direct from other resellers. Antique shops is another good place, but they've gotten um, they put some ridiculous prices. Sometimes it feels like you're just going into a
Yeah.
museum and it's never going to sell.
You're blowing people's mind with your plastics. Crazy. I had no idea. Robert saying information overload, and I'm
Oh,
loving it.
nice.
Thank you. Evelyn's wanting to know where does she buy the plastic sheet at?
You can buy those on Amazon. So I bought this one on Amazon. This is the pellets just compressed down. This is from Hobby Lobby if you just want to find something quick and don't want to wait. But yeah, you can get them from Amazon. The brand here is called thermoplastic pellet. They're used for cosplay. That's what I found out. So you could probably do
Oh,
something with them on your flowers, Evelyn. If you make something with them, I'll be glad to test drive it.
let's see. Matthew Fox tuned in from our Facebook Live portion. Says I've gotten most of mine from garage sales. He has around 50. Very
Nice.
cool. See, I just saw somebody. Yeah, Rob said he's got 300 and just bought 5 more today.
That's the way to do it.
Let's see. Rob saying I know Home Depot and Lowe's have lots of blow molds. I already started buying some. They're making this year. Do you know? Do you know the number went up a lot? Okay, yeah,
Yeah, there was
went up a
somebody
lot.
on the Blowmold groups that did a spreadsheet, and between all the Halloween and Christmas, there's been over 200 new Blowmolds just this year, which is
Ooh,
amazing.
what's the average? Any
It
ideas?
was
Like,
for
what's
a
a
while
typical
there.
year?
For a while there, you were lucky to get 4 or 5 a year. The problem with the older manufacturers, many of them, they would make the same snowman year after year after year, or the same
Oh
Santa.
yeah,
They didn't do anything. So I think that's what. And then inflatables came along, and that blew them away. And now, obviously, I think inflatables are starting to retract a little bit, and that's why blow
yeah,
molds are coming back.
yeah. So yeah,
That's the
I'm
one
not a
thing I don't have in
huge.
my display, Charlie. I don't have any inflatables. I used to have about 60 of them. I sold them off years ago.
Did you? I have two. I use for Halloween. Sometimes I use for Halloween, but I don't know. I think I'd probably if I had to choose between blow molds and inflatable, I'd probably choose blow molds. Inflatables, I don't know. But speaking of light fight, speaking of that angel behind you, can you tell us about the moment on the show when you took the head off and scared
Yeah,
the hell out of the host?
let's take our head off too. I'm going to change hats here, Charlie. Put my light fight hat
For
on.
those of you who don't know, haven't watched Brian's episode, he has blow mold angels where the heads are replaceable and freaks her the heck out during the show. It's a great moment in the episode.
And I think you're making a good transition. We can go into uh, the light fight discussion because I think I have some great information about that, and I'd like to share it because my light fight is my goal to get everybody on as a past
Mm-hmm.
contestant. Hold on 1 second here, and it's been a really amazing experience for 2 reasons. One, not just being on the show was great, but two, I have made so many friends from being on the show, and it's encouraged me to go to the events like Trans World, the Christmas Expo, Florida Mega Mini. I'm hoping to hit some of the other minis if they coordinate. But Light Fight is an amazing experience, and I want to talk about it. So, Charlie, I'm going to share my screen here again, and let's talk a
Yeah,
little
do
bit
it.
about Light Fight if you don't mind. And let me
Absolutely.
get it up here, and I'll talk about the caroler here in a minute because it
Yeah,
was kind of
absolutely.
a funny scene. Even my wife thinks I staged it, and I did it. All right, so let me know if you're seeing the screen, Charlie.
Yep, you're good. We're seeing the
All right,
screen.
so I'm going to walk you a little bit through use the term fanboy of Light Fight since it came out in 2013. People that do big Christmas displays. I want to be on that show one day. And it took me, 2022 to finally get on it when I decided I was ready for it or thought I was big enough. But when you get on the show, there's a lot of different things that you need to prep for. But before you even get on the show, uh, you really got to say it. They're showcasing your show to millions of people on TV.
Yeah.
They want ratings. You have to have a good show. Doesn't matter if it's a pixel light show, an AC light show, an old school show, a hybrid show. So make sure you have an impressive, that even ties into the judges, Tanya and Carter, who sometimes get roasted for picking what's known as the wrong display, but there's a lot that goes into the decision. And I could talk about that more later. But make sure you're ready. And then two, don't be so hung up on how big your display is, because there have been a lot of displays on the show that are not big. They're on city lots or standard quarter acre lots, and it goes all the way up to acreage. And a mixture of them all have one. So that's on there. And then next is just make sure your family's ready for you got to make sure you're ready for that. Your community's ready for that, and you can address it. But what I want to show you here today is, we get on the show, you have a lot of fun filming the show, and you get to do things yourself. So one of the things you get to do is self-filming. They send you a tripod and attach your
Ooh.
show. Sometimes it does not. One of the things I can show here, Charlie, is that. Now, there's a lot of prep that goes into the show, Charlie. This is just a few snippets from our filming day. And, they arrived a day before to do some scouting, but this is the early morning, afternoon of where they start setting up. So it's everything from your local police department, blocking off roads if that has to require it. Porta potties do get dropped off. Our neighbors decorated ours. There's lots of equipment everywhere. They draw out site maps and block things off. We work under COVID protocols still, so we couldn't have extended audience watching the display. Matter of fact, they're not even really going back to crowds. You might see up to 25 people this year, and I don't know what's happening for who they film upcoming season if they're going to go back. But Brady Cannell has, who's the showrunner and main producer of the show, has said they're probably not going to go back to crowds. It's just too hard to manage. And frankly, I liked a small crowd would have been nice, but it's nice to not have all those people that you're getting all the attention. So I know you've interviewed Brady and Felicia and Kristen and have heard all that. So it's a lot of work. There's a lot of elves in the background. And the other thing is that's crazy. They film no matter what. I was so nervous about this, not even talking all the setup, but this is the actual weather forecast when we were being filmed on November 11th in 2022. You can see right where Philadelphia is. We're right between there and Allentown. And at 7:00, the weather was supposed to roll in when Tanya got here, and you do not meet the judge ahead of time. They just literally walk in. It was raining at first, and it was drizzling lightly. We started to film, and we lucked out. We were supposed to have Hurricane Nicole, tropical storm winds, and we lucked out. So there's been people I know that have filmed in snow, heavy rain. This past year was a lot of rain for a lot of the episodes. So the next thing, any questions so far, Charlie? But the next thing is you're kind of like a movie star. You have to pick a wardrobe, and it has to be approved and copyright. Make sure you're not infringing on copyright. And this is our wardrobe. You usually have to pick about 4 outfits. So the top left, the Fun Love Family, that is our home package wardrobe. They were a pajama set that my wife Kim picked up, and that's where they did your interviews. Matter of fact, you notice we're inside. We were one of the first families since COVID, if not the first, to have an inside interview. If you go back and watch, for example, the gingerbread house that was on the first episode of this year, they're out in snow filming. We were inside because of the tropical storm that was in. It was pouring so hard sometimes they had to stop recording because it was hitting the roof so hard. Then the second, where we're holding the Blowmold lollipops, that is our DIY setup outfit. and then obviously bottom corner is your fancy reveal outfit, and then you have a fourth outfit for promos, or in this case, when they return to do additional filming, it happened to be we found out we won the light fight trophy, which is a pretty big secret.
Yeah. Was pretty hard to keep that to yourself, or was it like, no big deal? We didn't have a problem not telling anybody.
It is very, very hard to keep it a secret. So you do sign an NDA. Very
Yeah.
few, if any, people know it outside of the show. I think in our family, maybe 2 people knew and kept it secret. It literally was given to us, and then I think the day after Christmas, I bought a box for it and packed it away in the closet and had to keep it secret for a whole year. Now, years ago, they used to film like in October, and then you found out you only had to keep it a secret about a few weeks or a month. But now you do have
Right.
to keep it a secret. So that was a tough secret. It really was.
Yeah, we actually have a lot of light fight folks. I know we have one other prior contestant, one current contestant for this year's show, and one that's on the waiting list in the chat. If you're in the chat and you want us to talk about you, just let us know. Hey, I don't have a problem you guys mentioning me. I want to catch up with the comments just here real quick here. Let's see here. Eddie's asking thoughts on 3D printed replacement parts. He has the same choir child you had, and it's perfect.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to give a shout out to a woman named Kathy Yoder. She owns a store called G-N-K Collectibles, and she prints all kinds of 3D printed pieces for a lot of the blow molds, including choir heads, including the large choir heads, the small ones. She makes all kinds of pieces. Check that site out. She also makes labels and stickers for certain things. If you have a piece, and it doesn't even have to be a Christmas or a Halloween thing. If you have something you want 3D printed, you can send it to her and she'll get it all scanned and she'll print it to you. It's awesome for that. They'll print back plates for the blow molds. There's a lot of different sources to go get the larger standard light bulb cords, and they print those back and that. So 3D printing is definitely in. I have a 3D printer. I've never set it up yet because my home computer is too slow.
Fair enough. Rob's asking, do you know a way to make them hold up on PVC fencing?
You're probably, I don't know if you're mounting them on the top or in front of it. You're going to have to come up with some kind of system. One thing I do with my blow molds, and I don't have one here, but if I was going to put this blow mold outside, I drill holes in my stuff. So the best way to secure most of your blow molds is to drill a hole in the bottom. You can buy what's called a step bit if you're not familiar with that. You drill a hole, and then I use 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch PVC pipe. It used to be pretty cheap. You buy a 10-foot length and you can cut your poles to the length you need. So if I was going to do this mold, I would cut it, about 6 inches or 8 inches taller, because that's what's going to go in the ground. You slide the mold over, that secures it there. And you could probably make that system work on a fence, but you might have to do some other attachments. But that's not the only secret. That only stops it from tipping over. When you live like in a windy place like Oklahoma or anywhere else, it's still going to twist and turn around, and then you got to go out and do it. I also drill a little pilot hole through the back, and I create garden stakes that go through in the ground. So once you do that, it will not move. And I've had blow molds stay up in 60, 70, 80 mile per hour winds. So, and you can do it with all of them. Don't be afraid to put holes in your blow molds. It's not sacrilegious. Now, if you do have one you're trying to keep for future value, maybe you buy 2 of them. Good question, though.
Let's see. Matthew's saying he's got most of his garage sales around 50. Cool. His display is almost all inflatables between Halloween and Christmas. And wow, 150 inflatables. Good for you.
That's nice.
Now, the slackers want your light fight merch.
Top secret. There are very few people that have a hat out there or any of the other stuff, but we've told Light Fight you can sell tons of this stuff if you make it. So
I don't know why they don't. Yeah, they I would buy it just because it's neat. It's a great logo. Chad doesn't like inflatables because they can fly away and not lasting as long as. But yeah, they'll fly away on you to be certain.
Yeah. And I'm sure that community has ways to secure them and display them too and repair them, just like we do for blow molds.
Yeah. Dwayne's tuning in from New Zealand. What's up, Dwayne? Let's see here. Let's catch up. I know. Let's see here. Yeah, she's gonna experiment with this stuff. She has an idea. So if you guys are watching this back later, I will look up the plastic that Brian showed you, and I'll put that a link to that in the video's description below. Brandon's just tuned in. Says, "Hey, Brian."
Howdy.
See, Corey says, "Light fight is my goal too. I was considered for this year, but didn't quite make it. What do you think put you over the top to be chosen on the show?"
That's a great question. And, I don't think anybody ever knows if they have what their display is, what's being looked for by the judge. But I think what made our display admirable to the judge is twofold. The first thing is, and this is the most important beyond your display, and you don't see this on 12 minutes of TV. The judge is at your house on your reveal day. You do not meet them until literally you get ready to turn your lights on. They are there for 5+ hours. Tanya was at our house from 7 p.m. till about 1 in the morning the first time she was here. You spend a lot of time and create memories. And that's where we walk around, and we'll cover this in a minute, Charlie, talking about your display. That's what makes you stand out, is the passion in your display. It still has to look good. It's the passion in your display. Watch the winners that have won. You can really sense the passion in the display. Also, I'll say from a display element perspective, you have to have either your theme dialed in if you're doing a theme, or you have to have what you're trying to present. We were preservers of the lights and Christmas past.
Mm-hmm.
And we did that not just with Blowmolds, vintage and new. We did it with animatronics. We did it with interactive push buttons. We did it with our story. We did it with Blowmolds. We did it with lights all over the roof. Tanya loved that every single tree on my property didn't just have lights in it. It had Blowmold ornaments hanging in it. She thought it was great that our elements were set up, like, for example, the push buttons are 30 inches tall, perfect height for children, that we're thinking about families coming up to the display. And then really at the end of the day, it's just, if you're Blowmolds, how you present them. Light fight is not about having the most decorations and stuffing them out in your yard, because if you go back and look in some of the communities out there, like in Facebook or Instagram, you'll see people where Blowmolds get knocked because some people just literally stick them in their yard and think having 5,000 of them is going to make you win. It's not about that. It's about making a destination display that creates memories, both visually, emotionally, and makes families want to come back or talk about things that they remembered in the past.
Yeah, Kurt likes the crowds too, but he can see the challenges of the traffic. And Giotano says that this year's show, you can have a crowd of up to 50 on the episode.
Yeah, so they're increasing it. It was going to be 25, I think, for people that filmed last year, airing this year, and I heard it was bumping up to 50. So,
and Steve says he's told 2 years from now that he's too dark currently. So, and Steve has a pixel show. So that's one thing that say it again.
I don't know if you had a question, but pixel, I don't do pixels. I really admire pixels. They're hard. They're beautiful. Pixel shows actually win. There's a misnomer out there that pixel shows don't win. But on average, there's been over 200 and up through season 11, there's been 256 families on Light Fight. 256, including heavyweights, including neighbors, including individual families. And if you look at the mixture of winners, it averages that light shows versus traditional displays, if you want to break it into that too, is about a 65-35 favoring traditional, but there's been more traditional displays. And then if you really start looking at light shows in two categories, AC light shows, aka Lightorama, and then your true pixel display is running through something like X Lights, the numbers bump up a little bit, and they've been winning more and more each year. Now, I will caution pixel shows, in my opinion, I think if you look at pixel shows, everybody has the same props now. They're all buying from some of the vendors. You had Holiday Coro on not too long ago. Boscoyo's out there, Charlie's Props. I mean, there's so many of them out there. They make awesome products. I guess the neat thing with pixels is you can pop those pixels in there and you can program it differently than everybody else. However, if you go back at Light Fight, they want to see your light show, but they want to see it on static. And when you put it on static, it almost all looks the same, in my opinion, for everybody. So you got to figure out how to differentiate that, like some of the pixel winners did that had some unique display elements or themes.
So Rob's asking a good question. Asked, hey, which judge would you say is better? But you actually have breakdowns of which judge kind of, I don't say favors is the right word, but which judge has traditionally chosen a winner of a certain type or not. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so I don't say, everybody has their favorites. There's no you first of all, you do not know which judge you're getting assigned until after you make it pretty far through the process and close to being ready to film. You find out about a week or two before filming, maybe 3 weeks. And I think they do that so maybe you can tweak your show to be more what Tanya might like or more what Carter might like. But at the end of the day, they're both awesome. Um, they both enjoy what they do. They both
Mm-hmm.
understand what's happening at the displays. They like different things, and like I told you, it's really at the end of the day their experience that was there and beyond the lights is what they picked. Do they always pick the right shows? No. Was I the right winner? I don't know. I think I have a pretty awesome show that our family does
Mm-hmm.
a great job and we do a good thing for our community. But was it the best of my episode? I don't know. That's the judge felt something there that picked us. So um, that's how you have to really think about it. They both. I
Yeah.
will say this to Charlie's point about if you look at Tanya, she's the old 80-20 rule. I've done a complete analysis of this. Um,
Mm-hmm.
about 20% of the time, she'll pick a light show, whether it's AC or Pixel, and 80% is traditional. And Carter's kind of the opposite. He's like a 20-80 rule. He'll pick more, he's picked more of the Pixels and light shows.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the interesting thing is Carter
Yeah.
will get tied up on like, ooh, look at all these zip ties. And Tanya will start talking about how a compressed air chamber works to blow a big airstream in the air and light it up with water. So it's
Yeah.
kind of funny. It's opposite, but that's really how it mixes out. I like all the judges, and if you didn't know, they're
Yeah.
actually Tanya and Kanye are the Tanya and Carter are the long term judges, but before that you had Michael and Sabrina, and that was kind of the
Yeah.
same mix too. Michael picked more light shows than Sabrina did. She picked more traditional. So is it a man woman thing? I don't know. Could be. It also could be things were different back in 2013 than they are now.
Yeah. Let's see. Corey's want to know how much increased vehicle and foot traffic did you see in 2023 after your episode aired, and how did you handle it?
So that's a great question. And I kind of, a lot of past light fighters have said traffic does or will increase. There's even been some that blame Light Fight for getting them shut down. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but it could be out of other circumstances. I think failure to plan uh, is more what likely does it. So, I live on the entrance to a cul-de-sac neighborhood, and the last couple of years, and I've actually started working on it with my township now, is we've had to permit our show. We've had to lay out a traffic plan. We have to have fire police on site when the lights are on. We have to limit our hours. Um, there's things you have to do. We have to do signage. We have to designate parking areas. So you may or may not have to do that. I will tell you, we aired on the season finale of Light Fight last year, so we're always busy. If you're a big destination display, you're
Mm.
probably busy already.
Yeah.
It will increase, especially if you're near um, a larger city like we are. We're close to Philadelphia and Allentown. Um, we had a lot of traffic. Matter of fact, we Kim and I made a decision. We had volunteers lined up to do traffic on Christmas Eve. We
Mm-hmm.
weren't going to be lit on Christmas Day because we just let families do their thing. We had to pull the plug just to out of trying to slow things down a little bit. So just be prepared, have a plan, check with your township to see if there's anything that they can help you with, because a lot of them really want to
Yep.
help you do your display.
Now I know in the chat we have a couple of people who are alternates for this year. So you were originally an alternate. Can you walk us through that process of how you found out you're an alternate to being on the show?
I certainly can, Charlie. Um, so quick story to backtrack is I talked about wanting to apply for Light Fight for years and never did. And my wife finally said, um, Brian, you need to do this if you want to do it. I think you could do it. And with her illness, my wife has a disease called ataxia, which we talk about on Light Fight. Um, let's do it. So in August, they have two casting sessions. They have a spring session and a summer session. I'm sorry, a winter session and a summer session. So right around Christmas
Mm-hmm.
time up through February, they're collecting video, film it horizontally with your phone. That's one of their big things. Film this way, just like
Oh
a
yeah.
TV, like this. Get good
Yeah.
footage. They do that. Really, they're in the winter casting. They're trying to get your basic application, what they've streamlined down. They're trying to get videos so they can say who they want to follow up with in the spring. The spring is and summer casting is really where you apply. So to tie that into our story, last week of summer casting in 2022, end of August, literally the last 2 or 3 days, finally submitted the application. I'm going to do this. Kim wants to do it. And then you sit and wait. Well, we only waited 3 days and we got a call. Hey, we want to do a Zoom interview with you. So that's step 2 in the process. We did our Zoom interview. It's 45 minutes to an hour. You're talking to one of the casting associates. We had Sharon Houston was our casting associate. And they're kind of just asking you, how'd you get, kind of like you're doing, Charlie, how'd you get started on display? Where is it? What inspired you? What's going to make you win? What's going to make you memorable? And then after you do that, you wait. And Labor Day weekend of 2022, my wife and I literally started out on the back deck. Charlie, you like this? We were doing margarita slushies. The phone rings and I had my speakers playing around our pool and I hear a voice. I'm streaming it from my phone and I missed the call. So I go back and I look on the phone. It's a California number.
Felicia.
No, it was Felicia Aaron White, executive producer.
Yeah.
Hey, Brian, how you doing? And we chit-chatted. You know, she's awesome. We chit-chatted about the holiday weekend and she goes, well, I got some news for you. We like you and we want you to start decorating early. I'm like, ooh. She goes, but you're an alternate. Didn't know what that meant. I could certainly, you know, I did a class at Expo about all this, and I hope to do one at the Trans World East Coast Christmas show that's coming up in April. But I really explained with that. I didn't know what an alternate was at the time. I literally thought she said decorate. So we started decorating second week of September. I don't usually start till mid-October. I thought they were going to come film me. I thought they were going to film me, Charlie. And then find out, no. Do all your self footage. And in case we want to come out, we'll do it. But you have to go ahead, like with the mindset, you might go. So jumping forward, 2 weeks later, we get another phone call and I missed it again. And I saw the number and this time I had Felicia stored and I called her back and her tone was a little bit different. She was even more excited. You could tell it in her voice. Brian, we got good news. Somebody decided to drop and you're now on the show. However, you have to do it this date. Can you do it? And we already lost 2 weeks by then, but I was already setting up as an alternate. I said, yes, we will do it. And a lot of people, believe it or not, Charlie, and for those that are alternates, a lot of people drop. I mean, some of you might know Tony Tran. He was on last year's episode. He had a real small lot. That's the first thing. He's a guy who had, you know, he didn't have a big display. He had a beautiful display on a small lot. I think he said he was an alternate, and I think he got called like 3 days to be filmed. And he luckily lived in California. And he probably was set up. I had a 2-week window, and then I had a little bit short in the setup. So alternates always get on. Either they can't pass background tests. You do get a background check. Maybe their HOA wouldn't sign off on them setting up early to get filmed. Maybe somebody got sick. Maybe a family member said, I don't want to do it. Maybe they got COVID. So it can happen. You can get on. And then, you know, to take the story further, I just saw Evelyn saying she's an alternate, which I did not know. Alternates win. If you know the Bigda family in Florida, he was an alternate. He won. Evelyn won. We won. It's just a fortunate thing. It's just awesome to be represented on the Super Bowl of Christmas lights. But, you know, that's what happens. It was fun.
Giatano's cracking me up. He is also an alternate. He's rooting for someone to pull a muscle. That's freaking awesome.
I know you hate to say that, but it could happen. It could happen.
And yeah, one thing I take pride in, and I'm going to self-brag here, self-promote. One thing I love that I've created is kind of the farm system. When people send me video, it's how Giordano got found. That's how some others have gotten found. Is they'll send me a video. I'll do my fan appreciation award, and I think one winner has gone on to. I think he's an alternate this year. I love the collaboration of our industry. Everybody helps everybody. That's not true in a lot of industries. In ours, I think it is.
I agree. I mean, that's one of the best things is our community helps. A lot of people, you know, I went to a filming years ago. Happened to be my son's baseball coach. They do a display and they were on Light Fight in season 3. I know a lot of, you know, you had JR on. He's had a lot of people at his filming. Ben and Nancy Araman, who do a Disney display, they go to all kinds of, a lot of people go to these filmings. At the minis that I've gone to, the mega minis, and I talked to a lot of them. They've been to other filmings where I've helped set up. So it's really, really a great, fun experience. Hang in there. You never know.
Yeah.
For those that are alternates so far, because they've announced either on Facebook or their own display pages, I've identified 14 of the 24 families this year. So there's only 10 more that I don't know yet, but I will find you. I found 22 of the 24 families our year when they announced last year. So I'm trying to look for the 10. I know there's no heavyweights this year, so it's all individual families, or maybe they're doing neighbors.
Okay.
Hang in there. You might get on. You still might get on.
So here's a question I have for both viewers. So if you're watching and you have a keyboard in front of you, I want you to comment because I do want you to answer this question. And Brian, I wanted you to answer this question. I have a thought. I think it would be cool. What do you guys think? And Brian, what do you think? Do you think it'd be cool is if we did a live stream with you and me during the light fight and sit there and comment about the light fight as the light fight's going? Do you think that's a value? You think that's neat?
So,
you think that's stupid?
I think that's awesome. As a matter of fact, I was talking to Jordan Maywell from season 7 yesterday, literally talking about him, and I'll explain to you why in a moment. And we brought that up. We want to do that. So, Charlie, you're like an expert on the technology. Maybe you can help. Jordan was supposed to join in. Maybe he'll take. Maybe it could be a panel of 3. Maybe we can do that, or 4.
Yeah. So, Corey, love it. Steve said, "Let's go." Eddie said, "Heck yeah." Yep. Jordan. Yep. Jordan May. Well, there he is, right there, saying, "Yep, let's go."
Hey, Jordan. We'll change hats here again.
Look at that.
Look at this cool hat
you got right there.
Got this from a pretty special guy.
Heck yeah, you did.
Got
saying, good idea, Charlie. Yeah, like Peyton and Eli. And actually, that's where I got the idea. I was watching Monday Night Football because Peyton and Eli do the Manning cast. And then I love Mystery Science Theater. Good job. Good job there, Giatano.
By the way, Charlie, if we start this, if Jason and Travis Kelce can get 100 million for their podcast, come on, we can do it too. Yeah, everybody wants to hear about
chump change.
Nice.
I don't get out of bed for at least 500 million. Got to curve that bill more. Bill saying great idea. Bill's got a ton of Blowmolds too. Good idea. Yep. So nice. So Haley's on there saying, "Hey, that's my kid. That's my daughter right there. If anybody sees a similarity there, at least $10. Heck yeah, let's go." So okay, yeah. If you guys, Jordan, if you guys are interested in that, I will set that up, and then we can just sit here and chat about the light fight as the light fight's going. I think that'd be neat.
That'd be fun. But Charlie, let's talk some more about light fight. I got some other cool stuff to show that might help some people.
Yes, go.
The next thing about the show is being memorable, and it's not just your lights, it's your lights on device. So I decided to go DIY and do kind of a lever, and I kind of have that on the screen there if Charlie's sharing it.
Yep.
And here's what was neat about so this used to be a push button panel from one of my animatronics that I retired, and I reconfigured it. It has blow molds on it, so it has the lollipop, and I have a big blow mold fence around our display. I made it interactive with the key that turns on. That was actually controversial with Kim. She's like, make it simpler, just have them pull the lever. I have snowflakes on it because we have a lot of snowflakes throughout our display. It has our logo, our initial on it. And that's how we turned on the device. And we did do it, Charlie, and I'm going to show you the actual key. I don't have the other devices up in my attic. I still have it. But here's the how we presented the key to the Michael family Christmas display to Tanya on our reveal night. I created a skiff box. For those of you that are in Texas, this is an old pecan pie box I got from this. Here you go, Jordan. That might be out of your neck of the woods. But anyway, we presented the key to, I decorated it up. I put our initial on it. I put a gift tag on there and personalized it for Tanya. If you can personalize something for the judges, watch a lot of past displays. They remember that. And then we gave Tanya the key. So here is the key to the Michael family Christmas display. And that display actually operates. Matter of fact, they didn't show it and they didn't want to use it. When you turn the key, the display actually talks. It welcomed Tanya. And then when you turned it on, pushed the lever forward, it said Merry Christmas. They took all that out. But come up with a great device. It doesn't have to be mechanical. It could be a push button on your phones uniquely. It could be a phrase. It could be anything. There's been lots of neat ways to start the show up. The other thing is, and I want to talk some stories here tied to some people on the show. You got to know what you want to show. So one of the things our producer, her name was Maggie, said to us is we want to walk around. She goes, pick 3 to 5 key things and maybe a super um, extra one as your surprise element. So be prepared to have 3 to 5 things. And when I first thought about it, I'm like, I don't know what I have. I mean, to me, like the Blowmold choir, it's cool. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But like when you're got in your head what other people have shown on Light Fight, you're wondering, can it live up to it? And it can. So pick your 3 to 5 things. These are the things we picked. So I started with the choir, Charlie. Let me grab the head here. Very impromptu. When after you turn on your lights, you do your, we did 3, 2, 1, blow it up. Kim came up with that. You walk around and the producer knows your station. So we walked up through where my Polaron swinging stand is. And then here's my first story before I get to this. And this goes out to Robert and Lori Slankard. And they did not show this clearly, but either side of my Polaron Santa are 2 boxes, and they have David Hamburger display, workshop animated elves in them. There's 2 in one and 2 in the other, and then I have the other 2 on the other side of my display. So I sat down and Tanya asked me about the display and how old were they and where they come from. So here's an interesting how you never know your paths cross. So when I lived in Oklahoma City area, there was a big display off of Waterloo Road up near Edmond, Oklahoma. It was the Johnson family. And I know Robert and Lori know that because they bought a lot of pieces off of them. Well, I used to go to that display and I always wanted to buy a bunch of pieces when I lived there. And of course, we move away. And then a year later, Marvin decides to sell his display. I'm like, Marvin, what are you doing? Well, here's the other story that ties in. Marvin's niece and nephew lived in our neighborhood off of Sooner Road in Oklahoma City. And they're the ones that let me know that he was selling it. And I also saw it posted on the Old Planet Christmas. So Robert and Lori, I'm sorry, but I reached out to Mr. Johnson and said, Marvin, you knew I wanted these and I paid to get those freighted to me. So that was a story I wanted to share with you. But I know you got a bunch of his great pieces and you're making his display still live on. So that's that. But yeah, we did the choir, Charlie, and I don't know what made me do it. If you're familiar with the Empire choirs, the heads come off for storage and you have boys and girls in different color. And I just said, Tanya, the cool thing about these is if you don't like the way they're set up, you could pop them off. And it was funny, Light Fight put little popping noise sounds in there.
Oh, yeah.
And I switched the heads around and Tanya thought it was
funny.
hilarious and she tied it into Halloween, which was kind of cool. Maybe it was a preface to Fright Fight. I don't know, which I hope comes back next year since it's not coming. So we did that. Then the next thing we did is we walked up to the top right corner. We have the arch and Tanya's blocking it, but that snowman I repaired is right there. You got to light your roof up. When we were an alternate, one of the first things that Felicia said to me, I said, hey, we really appreciate you considering us. What can we do better? So ask what you can do better. You don't have to do better. They don't tell you what to do on your display. It's all your creative design. Yeah. If they tell you something, you can say, nope, I'm not doing that. Anyway, she said, your roof's a little dark. They are real particular on roofs. So I already did the big giant wreath I made up there. We talked about that. I made that out of PVC pipe years ago with the Believe sign. I went out and I already had it. I bought over 100 strobe lights. I climbed up on my roof. My roof is on basically a 12-12 pitch, 40 foot up to the peak. I can get on from the back fairly reasonably. It's scary up there. And I used to just do the perimeter of my roof. I outlined it. I put more structures up there. It was noticed. So that's the next thing. Then the third thing is we walked around and in the middle, you'll see Mickey Mouse up in the window. That's me and Tanya. I have a proximity sensor. You walk by it and I hacked it into the Gemmy animatronic and it makes Mickey wave. It's a huge hit with visitors here. It was a huge hit with Tanya. Usually I have a Grinch up there. That's more popular, but there's a lot of copyright stuff. You can't have Rudolph, the Grinch, Christmas Story, Christmas Vacation. So I switched it out to Mickey. And why did I do Mickey? Well, maybe get some brownie points. Here's some other advice. Don't just throw Disney stuff because you think you're going to win because of Disney. If your theme's not Mickey Mouse and Disney, don't put a bunch of it in there. However, if you sprinkle it in, I think it does give you some appeal. And I sprinkled it in 2 places, right there in the window. And then in one other place. We did it down in our fireplace there at the bottom. That is at the end where we finally brought the family back together. And Tanya pushes the button and I built that fireplace. It has animatronic legs kicking in. I built a push button that talks. It says all kinds of phrases. They only played a part of one. That's where we brought it together. And if you notice on the fireplace, might be hard to see in the picture. I have true picture, the real pictures on the fireplace of my kids when they were little with my blow molds. I have a picture of my mother-in-law with an old-fashioned Santa Claus. My first display is on the mantle. Make your display personal somehow, not only for you, but that you can convey it and create that feeling that the judge might see. The other thing I'll share here, Charlie, while people are thinking of questions, is what they don't show in the show. This is the moment in the display. And, if you would ask me, what is something you wish Light Fight would have shown that they didn't? This is where Tanya asked about Kim's condition, which is called ataxia.
Right.
It's a neurological disorder that attacks motor function, so speech, movement, eye movement, etc. And it's debilitating. There's no cure. Hers is a genetic form. There's no cure. So you kind of got to manage symptoms. We asked Light Fight if they would maybe provide a link to the National Ataxia Foundation to drive awareness, because not many people know about it. And they really wouldn't do that. Instead, they just mentioned that it was a disorder, and at least they brought attention to it. And when people came and visited our display, if you have a charity, once traffic comes and if you have signage and stuff out, you will get an increase in donations or awareness. And we put QR codes for people to learn. So that's the one thing I wish they did better, is I wish they talked more about ataxia. They talk about Make-A-Wish, they talk about the Heart Association, they talk about all these other organizations. Yeah. It was a little disappointing that they didn't bring that one up, but we are glad that we got some awareness out of doing that. The last thing I'll talk about here for my last element, well, there's two. Then I have my blow mold train, which Tanya said she never saw one before. She actually did, if you look on old episodes. This year, I won't give the name. I think he's a listener of yours, but he's on the show. Wait till you see how many trains this guy has in his display. It's going to be insane. So we did that, but then the last one was, and this is another, kind of shows you it's a small world. You see the bottom right. That's where Tanya pushes the button and talks to Santa Claus. And in there, I have a David Hamburger display rocking Missing Claus. And then I have the David Hamburger yarn elf, and I have the Santa with the list. The yarn elf, which you can't see in that picture, and then the Santa with the list, I acquired that from a gentleman named Sammy Nahas, who lived in Staten Island, New York, who was on Light Fight in season 10, and unfortunately passed away because of cancer a couple months ago. Really helped me out, got me my first couple of hamburger pieces outside of the ones I acquired from Oklahoma. And it just shows you, somebody who was also on Light Fight and had a passion for Christmas. Somehow they're now memorized in my display going forward. So I think that's pretty cool.
Nice. That kind of goes with the whole preserving for another generation. Giotano's got a question about your turn on. Oh, you got a video going there. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Giotano's asking about. Yeah, Giotano's asking about your prop. Is the device a prop, or do you sit back and just hit a remote switch and turn everything off with the prop? Does the prop actually turn anything off? What Tanya did?
So it's actually a great question. There have been very few lights on devices over the history of Light Fight that actually turn on the Light Fight. As you would suspect, most of them are usually one of the anime light shows, especially a Pixel show where you can do it from an app. Ours, I have Wi-Fi devices that turn on a big panel in the basement. So you did it on my phone. So while we were activating it, our producer actually used the app and timed it with us. Most of them do not. Matter of fact, Light Fight says just make something cool and memorable. We'll do magic editing to make it turn on. Good question.
Steve's asking if you feel if someone has kind of the same props that you do, are your chances limited? And he says the reason he asks is a lot of great ideas have been followed. So if there's two folks, they kind of have the same similar props that kind of hinder your ability to get on the show.
No, if you go back and watch the show, you'll see, just like I said, Tanya said she never saw a train. If you go back many episodes before, she saw several trains. They're on there. Blow molds are blow molds. Like I just said, with the new Pixel shows, you got your chroma flakes and your rosa wreaths and your mega pixel trees. They're all the same. It's how you program them. It's your theming. It's how you set it up. And then again, it's the how you tie true to what you're trying to present in your display. So don't be discouraged if you have the same props. Find a creative way to theme them or display them. Use accessories. I build a lot of accessories whether it's a
Mhm.
fake snowbank or a fake ice skating rink. There's things you can do with them.
Corey's asking, other than your own display, what's the
This is our
favorite thing
watch
you've
party,
seen on the
Charlie.
light
I don't know
fight?
if you're showing it.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, go talk about it.
Some of my some of the favorite things that I've seen on Light Fight. Oh boy. Oh, I don't want to call anybody out. I don't want to be, but I don't want to avoid the question. There are a lot of cool things on Light Fight. To me, some of it is just why didn't I think of that type of displays?
Yeah.
Uh, when I look at it's like wow, I didn't know you could put those things together. I have a lot of displays I've enjoyed. I told you I like all kinds of lights and displays. From
Yes.
there's even been inflatable displays, and it's like wow, that's cool how he does that or how many their family has. So I'm not trying to avoid the question, but there's I just think it's more about some of the elements that have been on the displays, like some of the wood cutout displays. Holy cow! Talk about amazing how people shroud their house and hide their house in structures and wood cutouts that you don't even know their
Yeah.
house is there. I mean, that's amazing to me.
Agreed.
Whoops.
Uh, let's see here. Robert and Laura say when they lit the roof of death, they made it wowing too. Let's see here. Vega family's asking, how long does it take you to set up?
Good question. So typically it takes 6 to 8 weeks for me to set up our display, and I do more of it myself for the most part. I don't have any help. My son helps me occasionally when he was away at college. It was difficult. My daughter's now away at college, and my son works full time, so I get their help. But it takes about 6 to 8 weeks, and they are long weeks. I mean, I take off the whole week of Black Friday, uh, Thanksgiving here in the United States, and they are 10 to 12 hour days. And if it rains, I'm in the rain. I'm muddy. I'm wet. I'm cold. Um, but I usually shoot for that time on. But 6 to 8 weeks of hard work. It's really hard.
What was it like working with production crew? You talk about you're out there hanging stuff when you're wet and you're cold, and they film in all sorts of weather. So what was it like working with production crew being on the show?
It was awesome, Charlie. A lot of past people that I've seen interviewed or talk about the show, they really are like family when they come out. They're very easy to work with. Um, don't be afraid of the camera. You almost don't even know it's there once you get started. When you first start out, you might feel awkward doing some things and all. But at the end of the day, it's reality TV, 99% of the filming. What you see is happening live as you do it. They occasionally have you do a retake if you can, just so they can get it from a different angle. Like, for example, when we do the
Right.
lights on, they want to film you this way looking at the display, but then they also want to get behind what it's on and maybe an angle over here. So sometimes they say, hey, can you just try to recreate that again? But it's like me and we're talking here right now. You kind of get used to it, and they're like family. Friended a lot of them on Facebook or Instagram. Still talk to them occasionally, send messages. I send Felicia information about, hey, did you know this about your show, Felicia? And she replies to me.
Yeah.
Same thing with Brady. So it's really cool. And AJ's cool to hang out with, one of the key casting producers.
Mhm.
Um, it's cool. You really build, if you get to go to some of the events where some of them are, you'll build a great relationship.
That's a great point you brought up, and a perfect segue into being camera shy. So, folks who are camera shy, the camera's in your face. I'm used to a camera because I do this weekly. You're used to a camera, but if you're not used to a camera, what's it like being on the show? The camera's just right there, following your every move.
So when on our filming, you had, I believe it was two key shoulder cameras, if you will. And then you had the jib, that's the big arm that gets all the cool crane footage. Amazing.
Yeah,
So you typically have three. You were mic'd up the whole time. That's the other thing that people don't know. You literally are hot mic the whole time. So you got to use the potty, be quiet, or use the secret code. Tell them you got to do a 10-1 and they will shut your mics
yeah,
off. So
yeah.
it's fun.
Was
I
there
don't know.
anything
I know
that?
there's people that are camera shy or afraid to do presentations. You almost forget they're there. You really do. After a couple
Yeah.
takes, you forget they're there.
Was there anything? They're there filming a ton, but they only air a short amount of the footage. Was there anything you wanted them to focus on or talk about in the episode that they did not?
Well, I shared about the ataxia and Kim. There were some cool
Right.
moments. So there is a moment that I remember where they wanted me to come out and carry bunch of blow molds. And you see that in the scene. I come carrying blow molds out and say, look, I
Yeah.
found more blow molds. And my son, off the cuff, turns around and goes, where do you want me to put them? That was not rehearsed. They did that. However, my daughter also said, I said, aren't they cool? And my daughter said something like, how did she say it? I had a Jesus blow mold. I had the TPI kneeling Santa with the Jesus. And I said,
Yeah.
and she goes, I said, aren't they cool? And she said something about like, Jesus really is cool. And they cut that kind of stuff out. So there's impromptu stuff like that. I didn't say it as good as she did. It was really hilarious when she said it. Tanya also really liked our perimeter fence, which is made up of over 70 of the Union products, red and green Blowmold lollipops.
Oh, yeah.
I have over 800 feet of perimeter fence. She thought that was cool. She talked about the things in the trees. There's, like I said, there's things that they pull out that they don't show.
Do they do it all in one take or a series of takes?
Like 90% of the time, it's reality. It's going as it happens, and sometimes they will refilm things. For example, I'm jumping ahead here, but I'm moving up to when we found out we won. And if Charlie's sharing the screen right now, the top right-hand picture where you see Tanya at the door and me coming out, if you go back and watch our episode, which is only on Disney Plus right now, it used to be on Hulu, and they only have season 8 and 9 on Hulu right now. Season 11 is on Disney Plus. When you see us come out and get the trophy, my Ring camera caught it. And when you watch it back, it's exact. I don't have the audio playing. It's exact. It's unedited. It's real. The emotion's real. And it's pretty cool there.
Very
you see
cool.
Tanya handing us the trophy there. My garage cameras caught that snippet. You get to stand around and watch them film stuff after they're done. Like, for example, when you win, they kind of do the trophy part early because they don't want you like accidentally seeing the car out there or Tanya, because she's not supposed to be there. They came back to our house because of the weather. Remember I told you we filmed with rain? We thought we were getting retakes on stuff. So it kind of caught us off surprise.
That's awesome. Especially having the Ring camera there and kind of getting that end of it too. That's neat.
Yeah, I know Brady had said they forget about those sometimes, and now they're wondering sometimes do their big surprises get blown up accidentally because people have apps with security cameras on it. So it's kind of cool.
See, Steve's asking, how much time did you get to get it all done once you got? How much time did you have to get it all done once they got there? Oh yeah, were you still decorate? Well, you were finished decorating by the time they got there to film, right?
We filmed on November 10th, 11th, and 12th. When they came out on the 10th to do the pre-scouting and some early stuff, it had to be ready. And you had to have it, if you didn't have it ready a couple days before to test it, be careful because you're going on. And I will, I'll throw that in there quick, Charlie, and I'll keep going for however long I want to go. I'll throw that in there too. Don't be afraid if stuff doesn't work. We had stuff that didn't work, and then I fixed it the next day, or stuff happens all the time. There's been a light fighter whose panel caught on fire. There's been a light fighter who was lighting a light show and it didn't light because the GFI was tripped. If you watched last year, there's some people that have blow molds and they're not lit. They make it look good. Stuff's going to happen when you have a huge display. It's typical that stuff. There's a lot of pixel shows where pixels are burnt out or not the right color. It happens. So don't be worried about that. They'll make it work. I'll give a shout out to another blow mold collector out there, Brandon Gress from season 5. He has Carter walking in his yard, and the same thing happened to us. He has a blow mold train, and Carter, if you go back and watch that episode, steps on the cord and the train goes out, one of the cabooses. The same thing happened in ours. It's very subtle to catch. Tanya stepped on a cord and the caboose went out. So things happen in the display, and it happens.
Fair enough. So what'd you do with the trophy? You had the trophy. What'd you do with it? You keep it under the basement?
What? Oh, the trophy. Everybody wants to know about the trophy. Yeah.
The trophy.
Before I get the trophy, because I'm going to get that now, I think it's a good segue. Things even go wrong on their side. They did everything they could, Light Fight, to make sure we removed anything that's copyrighted, and minions are not allowed. I had them on the inside, and I don't know if you can see the screen, Charlie. When I came out the door, the camera caught me. When we win our trophy, I'm showing minions on a Disney channel. So stuff happens. All right, the trophy. Let me grab the trophy. Because I know time's
Heck
getting
yeah, the
short.
trophy.
So we'll jump back and
Let's
forth, Charlie. But
go.
this is why
Nice.
most people do the light fight, not for $50,000. Which, don't get me wrong, $50,000 can buy more display pieces or pay a college education. And by the way, you don't win $50,000. You can take taxes out, so
Oh yeah.
government gets their 30%. This is what it's all about. First of all, showcasing your lights and what you do to your community. Getting it filmed professionally, that's amazing. We watch our episode all the time, almost every day. But it's this. Most light fighters will tell you this is why they do it. And it wouldn't be a light fight trophy, as Tanya says, if it didn't do this.
Ah,
So,
look at that bad boy.
so this is why people
Nice.
do it. And, this is probably one of the most impressive trophies out there for any kind of hobby. It is made by a professional prop maker. It's not like an off the shelf trophy. It's literally made by somebody who makes movie props.
Yeah.
But it's pretty interesting. It's evolved over the years. It used to have a solid brass base. And I think they changed because if you go back and look in season 1, 2, or 3, fingerprints would be all over it. So now they've gone to a matte finish. The top here is actually one of those giant novelty champagne glasses.
Yes.
And they cut the stem off here. I don't know if you can see me here. And then they polish it down. So what's unique about that too, that means almost every trophy is different. Some will have stubbies, I call it. Some will have the longer tips on it. But this is it. Another fun story is the inside of these sometimes gets clogged up because there's air holes in the bottom. They can come apart. And I literally was on my phone yesterday with Jordan Maywald. He's taking his apart. I took this apart yesterday and I got it all the way down, but I couldn't get the globe off. It has a twist lock here. Mine's too tight and I don't want to risk breaking it, but to clean it up inside. But it's well built. This is amazing. Now, somebody might say, do I keep it out all year long? Some light fighters do. Believe it or not, I put mine back in the box and I put it away. Some of it's because I have cats and I'm afraid they're going to knock it over. But I enjoy bringing it out. It stays out on our mantle at Christmas time. We finally got to bring it out on our watch party last year so that everybody could see it. And then more importantly, not just see it, I carefully pass it around and let people share it. After we won, so, we had our display going last year after a watch party. Our community finally saw we won. I took it outside every night and take pictures with all the people visiting our display. I've let some people hold
cool.
Pictures with the kids. If you go to the Michael Family Christmas Display Facebook page, you can see pictures and videos from people visiting our display and clips of when we were on Light Fight. We take this out every year and let people get pictures with it. Last year was really cool too. We our fire police and our traffic control, their families came into our house and took big pictures with this because of what they were doing. So it was really fun. This is I'm proud we won this. It's not why I did the show though. I did the show to see if I can be on it. One, I love the show. Yeah. Two, I really wanted a professional video. They make your lights look amazing. Even if they, it could be the best display ever. It looks even better on Light Fight. But then this is what it's all about. It's really cool. It's really cool, and I'm proud of it. Kim, Joe, and Elise are proud of it. My whole family's proud of it, and those people that I've inspired around here that I was telling you about that are trying to get on Light Fight or do local displays, I think this inspires them too. So it's really cool.
Yeah,
and it was even cooler, Charlie, getting it delivered by that red car.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, Rob and Lori are saying that I was amazed that the cameraman didn't trip over any of their stuff. The cameramen are amazing. Corey's asking, it's okay that you don't bury your stitching cord? You talked about, he made that comment. We talked about the hosts or the judges stepping on cords.
Yeah. So I know there were some questions that were asked, and I think it was Rob was asking, let's some kind of fun tips about or facts about Light Fight. Let me see if I can bring those up. I'll talk a little bit about that. So we talked about how many displays have been on the show and what states haven't been on the show. And
right.
Let me give you some fun facts. So kind of a background on this. So as we were coming out of COVID, we're near the end of it, 2020, 22. I'm going to switch back to this is what I look like without gray Christmas lights. put our family hat back on. Um, I'm in anticipation, waiting for our episode to air, just like Lori and Robert are, and a couple others. You're waiting. We filmed in November. We had to wait 14 months. One, not only to hide the trophy and show everybody, but even just to watch. You do not see any of your footage until it airs. You don't know
Oh,
how they
that's
edit it,
true.
whatever. So, so what did I do to
Yeah.
occupy my time besides building more Christmas props for the following year? I started going back and watching every single episode of Light Fight multiple
Mhm.
times, and I created a database of the history of the show. And there's a lot of cool facts that have come out of it. So let me throw some fun tidbits at you just to think about. And I'm going to update this when it airs this year. Like I told you, I already know 14 of the 24 families that are going to be on this year. I just got to find out who's paired together and wins. But if you weren't familiar with it, since 2013, there have been 67 total episodes of Light Fight. And out of those 67 episodes, there have been 59 individuals, one neighbors episode. So the difference between neighborhood is whole neighborhoods. Neighbors is people living next to each other. 4 heavyweights and then 2 all-star episodes. So 67 total episodes, but only 65 winners, because during the all-stars, which they did in the beginning of season 6 and then beginning of season 11, I hope to be on all-stars when season 16 comes out. There's 65 total winners. I think I mentioned this. There's been 259 total displays. 236 of them have been individuals. 3 have been neighborhoods, 4 are neighbors, and 16 are heavyweights. So a lot of displays have been on there over the years. And
Are
then,
you wanting to share that screen or no?
no. We're going to just talk about
Okay,
this right
gotcha,
now.
gotcha, gotcha. Yep.
This is where it gets to the nitty gritty. It's always asked, well, light shows aren't on there, aren't featured. And, the reality is 178 displays roughly have been traditional displays. 43 have been AC light shows and 38 have been pixel light shows. So there's been almost, roughly 90. What's 43 and 38, Charlie? 11, 7. What's that? 78, 71. I can't add
81.
81. I need to go back to school. 81 light shows between AC and pixel shows. So a lot of light shows get on there.
Mm-hmm.
Roughly, like I said, it's about a 65-35 mixture. And then if you look at the light show breakdown, it's almost split 50-50, 15%, 15%. So kind of cool. But it's no secret. It does seem Light Fight favors certain states. And some of that was driven during COVID. Some of it's because the states are huge. And some of it's because that's where there are displays. There really are. So California does have the most contenders on the show. They've had 46 so far. And out of those 46, they've had 9 winners. So you would think because they had 46 that they'd have the most winners. They actually didn't have the most winners. The great state of Texas actually has the most winners. They've had 11 so far out of 32 contenders. So 17% win rate for the state of Texas. States that haven't been on it. And, if you have a question about your state, I can tell you how many have been in there and who's won. Just let me know while I'm reading these off. But there have been 13 states that have not made the cut yet. So if you're in one of these states, either apply or let's see what we can do. But we have not had anybody in Alaska, Delaware, Iowa, Kansas, Charlie, your home state. Step it up, buddy. Get that projection. Maine, Montana, New Hampshire, South Dakota, Vermont, West Virginia, Wisconsin, or Wyoming. They are your 13 states. And my scout so far for the 14 families I found that will be airing this year, them states still aren't represented. So if you made the show to be filmed this year, maybe at least tell us, you can't tell us yet, but you got to keep that secret. It'd be interesting if any of those states filled out.
How many in South Carolina?
South Carolina has had 2 contenders, but 0 winners.
Boom.
There's also been one international family. They were the Desario family. They were out of Toronto, Canada. Light Fight really wants to do international, but it's apparently cost to do it is insane, is what they've said.
Yeah, I would like to note that no one from the state of Kansas has ever lost The great we're undefeated.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah, so I asked, I said, hey, how come you're not bringing back the light fight? They said, because they want other shows on, or no, the fright fight, rather, fright fight. They're not bringing it back. They said it's cost wise, they make a lot more money because we don't have to pay the actors or anything like that. I said, but they want the other shows on. I'm like, yeah, they want the scripted TV
Well,
on.
the actual story behind Fright Fight is up for the last couple years. As you know, reality TV kind of took over. Now the scripted shows are
Yeah.
back, the COVIDs are back, and the dramas, and it's sports season for baseball and football. We've been told they just really don't have room to fit it in, which is unfortunate. I think it still has a place, but that's what they've been telling out there. Now the good news is Brady shared at the Christmas Expo, and I hope this comes true, that they're working with the streaming service called Pluto to try to bring back all seasons so that you can watch them anytime. Because right now it's really fragmented on what seasons you can see and where you can see them, and you cannot see all of them currently today. You can see a couple. You can see 1 and 2 on YouTube, and 6. You can see 8 and 9 on Hulu. You can see 10 and 11 on Disney Plus, and then the rest in between you can't watch. So hopefully the Pluto thing happens.
Yep. Evelyn says she likes to hide her trophy in her yard and play Find My Trophy. Rich wants to know where you got your information at.
It's all from me watching the show over and over and creating a database. I've had some people reach out to me. I'm considering it. I'm thinking about building a website so people can go get this knowledge. I don't know how outside of the lighting community and people in TV, I don't know how much really want to see it, but it's very interesting. I found it interesting it could help somebody who's either A, trying to get on the show, what they might want to be like, if you will, or B, it could just, if you're trying to just create a display and care less about TV, what did people like? Like what was a national award winning light display that I can find ideas about.
Do you remember the names of the 2 South Carolina contenders? Rich is asking.
Yeah, hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second.
And then after that, Rob's asking how many have been in New York. I gotta think I'd say at least 10. New York's huge.
So South Carolina, bear with me because I don't have this sorted.
Yeah, no, take your time. I live on Control F. If I'm looking up a document, I'm like, like that's what I was doing before this. I'm like, I gotta find my questions. I'm like, what's your email address? I had to find my questions.
All right. One of the South Carolina families actually was in our season last year. They were the Schatz family. They did, I think the name of their display is Paws for Pets or something like that. Big walkthrough display. They had Carter as a judge. Very impressive display. They were up against the Uzaki family out of Deptford, New Jersey, who won the Light Fight Trophy for their Pixel video game display. And then the other South Carolina display was the Pelletier family out of Greenville, South Carolina, back in 2015. And ironically, they lost to the Kuhn family out of Utah, who had a big, giant wood castle that you couldn't even see the house. So there's your 2.
I remember that episode. Okay.
And what was your next question? New York?
Yeah, Rob said, how many houses are from New York?
Okay, let me get back there. Jumping around here now. New York had... drawing a blank here. Oh, there it is. New York has had 16 contenders and 4 winners. They are the 4th large. They've had the 4th most participation by state.
And Giatano's asked. Go ahead.
Your top 5 states as far as number of contenders is California, Texas, Florida, New York, Arizona, and then Georgia. That's your top 5.
Top 3 I get. Georgia surprises me. Okay, good job, Georgia. Giatano's asked a question that's close to my heart. Did you barbecue for the crew?
This is a great question. So we were under COVID protocols, and I wanted to do a Philly food theme. I wanted to do Philly soft pretzels and tasty cakes and cheese steaks and all that kind of stuff. And I was told no because of COVID, which was unfortunate. Instead, they have a runner that goes and gets them food locally. I gave them a list of restaurants, but it was disappointing. Now, the thing that was a little frustrating, we had the Manfred family. They were the Dominic the Donkey light show in our episode, and they did the big
Oh
Italian
yeah,
festival, and she made all the cookies. How come they
yeah.
got to put out food? I wish I was there eating those cookies with Tanya. By the way, one of the cool things about
Yeah.
Light Fight is, especially if you get a chance, I travel for work. And I was actually in Indianapolis last week, and the Manfrey family in Indiana. I reached out to him and was willing to drive 2 hours in my free time and meet with him, but our schedules didn't work out. He works mid shift. But I do try to travel. Matter of fact, I'm going to be in Boston next month, and I'm going to meet with Henry Swenson, who was in our episode, who grew the big
Oh
giant
nice.
pumpkins. If you haven't seen our episode, he drove. I'm going to
Yeah,
go see his big giant pumpkin in a couple weeks while I'm up that
that's
way.
so
So
cool.
cool.
Um, so Evan's asking a splendid question that I don't even know if you have the answer to. Do you have which episodes have had the most views?
I do have that information not in front of me. I will tell you, Light Fight's
Wow.
been averaging anywhere from roughly 1.6 to 2.1 million viewers the last 3-4 years.
Hmm.
Back in the beginning of their life cycle, the first, to say 1 to 5 years, they were getting over 4 million. So viewership has dropped, but there's more choices out there. And Brady has shared that they still do very, very well with a drop. Evelyn, I can look that up for you. I do know where to get it, though. I don't know offhand. I wouldn't say you stumped me. I just don't have it handy with me.
Steve's asking a question I've never thought about. How many displays do you think there are in America? I gotta say tens of thousands, right?
Brady has shared that, after they did their first year of Light Fight, they found them on YouTube back in the day. So, Charlie, thanks for what you do on YouTube as
Yeah.
far as bringing awareness to Christmas. Um, they thought they would run out after a season or two. They got so many light shows applying
Yeah.
100 supply each year that they could go, as long as the ratings are still there and they keep it good and fresh and different, it can go on for years if ABC wants it to.
Jason's asking, are there any power extension cords that are made for the light that you use? He needs to split the strands into upper and lower level, and the power cable that comes with the set is not long enough. He says he purchased the same set as you, if that makes sense. But
If
here's a
you're, I
schedule
use
question.
commercial grade uh, C7 and C9 stringers. I use Minleon as my bulb choice, and you can cut them to whatever you want and use Vampire plugs and all. If you're talking traditional light sets, not pixel, you can't really cut those and split those easily unless you know what you're doing. So it depends what kind of light set you're talking about.
And Rich has a great question that I'm going to kind of more for him. He's at 20,000 pixels. He's not ready. Also, why do they do big? Oh, why don't they do big crowds anymore? So someone thinks they're not ready, which is probably a lot. You don't really know what the judges are looking for until you put your submission for it, and they will critique you. Say, hey, you got a dark spot over here. Let's increase that. When you submit, they will tell you what you need to do to get on the show. It's not a secret. They'll converse with you. Do you agree?
So here's what one of your past guests, Kristen Moss, has said, and this is what AJ Rochester, who's one of the most known casting producers out there. If
Mm-hmm.
you are going to put up lights and grow, Light Fight likes to grow with you. If you think you have
Mm-hmm.
something special, even if it's not big, again, big's not always better. Um, Start documenting it. Film this year again. Film horizontally. Submit
Yes.
it. The application is really short now. They're really just collecting your contact information,
Yeah.
and they'll tell you don't make it, and then improve each year. Submit the video, and there have been, and I didn't share this. There have been some families that have taken as much as 5+ years to get on this show. But they don't get frustrated. They're going to do their display anyway. The show's been around. They submit, they learn, and then eventually they get on. And a few of those people have gone on to win. We're one of the few that happened to get on our first time we applied and then be an alternate and then win the show. Um, it's going to vary. So my advice is film it, submit it. You have nothing to lose. And you'll get to talk to AJ for an interview or one of the other people.
Yeah.
That's fun.
And to answer your second part of your question, Rich, they got rid of it due to COVID, but they're bringing it back up to 50 spectators this year. And he's asking, "You ever done X Lights around the world?" I do know what that is. I think it's a neat thing. So for those folks that don't know, X Lights around the world, the X Lights software guys, they'll put together a show. They give that software out for free, and then everybody can kind of curtail, put that into their own show, and it's neat. And then you film it horizontal, send that submission in, and they do a collage of kind of like what I do at the end of my season, but they do it for all the X Lights to the same song. It's neat.
Yeah, Charlie, they just I follow a lot of the different groups out
Hmm.
there, including in the Pixel displays. They just rolled out a couple of weeks ago what the two song choices they're going to do. One's a holiday song, one's not a non-holiday song. Um, Go to X Lights Around the World or Google it. Their
Yep.
page will tell you what you can do. I don't do it because I don't have pixels. So
Yeah.
if they want
Yeah.
me to
And
program my Lightorama section, I do have a section of Lightorama. I'll submit
yep.
that, but it's all pixels. It's X Lights Around the World. It's a
Yeah, you're
pixel.
not just blow molds. You have a Lightorama section. You have static sections. You have different sections.
Yeah, I have 64 channels of Lightorama. I've been a Lightorama user since 2004 or 5 when Dan Baldwin started the company and used to be an active member on Planet Christmas, posting about his homemade um, displays. So I still use it. I have over 100 sequences I programmed myself. That's what runs the background music in my display. And I will tell you, a lot of people look at the blow molds, but a lot of people stop and look at the animated light sections. It's still popular. I have no plans to expand it. It does what I need for it.
Yeah.
It works. I like it.
So let's kind of put the nail on the nail on the head. So folks like Rich and folks that are in the chat today, like Jason and others that want to be on the show, but maybe they feel they're not ready. What advice do you have for folks who want to be on the Great Christmas Light Fight?
I shared a couple of those, but again, first have
Yeah.
a passion for what you do, Charlie. I think most of us in here, or all of us here, we do lights because one, first, we enjoy them and what it does
Yeah.
for our personal fulfillment and for our families. But two, you really do it for your community. That's where you'll get the recognition. I think
Hmm.
doing it for your community is creating a lot of memories and is what drives the next generation of people to do lights. It's probably what drives you, most of us,
Yeah.
to improve upon what we do. So that's the first thing. Second is um, invest the time in it. Explore different ways to display your elements. If you're going to focus, for example, on blow molds, like I first started on, try to be the best at it. It doesn't have to be the biggest, doesn't have to be the brightest. Try to come up with themes or ways to display it. Talk to other light fight family friends out there. I know, I'll share a slide here in a little bit, maybe to wrap things up. Once you get into this community, you make friends forever. They'll help you.
Yeah.
I'd also look at what's coming in the future. Technology's changing. Light fight, if your goal is to be on light fight, they want to see something different beyond the passion and the lights. So see if you can come up with something different. The community is really what drives me, and bringing awareness for the charity of the National Ataxia Foundation. And I think that's what drives me. And matter of fact, your community will recognize you. This is we live in Hatfield, Pennsylvania. We went to their town hall meeting on Valentine's Day. This is where I took Kim on Valentine's Day. They recognized us last year after our display and after Light Fight. They created a nice plaque. They wrote up a nice article about us. It's posted on the Michael Family Christmas display page. And recognition's nice too. It's nice to get some of that.
That's so cool. And you're talking about having a passion for it. And Giatano's kind of funny. Giatano says, is waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning with display ideas passion or insanity? Hoping it's passion.
Hey, trust me, I wake up a lot of times and say, what the heck am I thinking about? For example, I know we're getting close in time here, Charlie.
You're good.
This is when I make my DIY projects, I lay in bed like many of you, and I'm like 3 a.m. I'll be like, oh, that's how I can make it work. And then you sketch it out. So my fireplace that was featured on the show, this is the original drawing. This is how I created it. I just sketched it out and then figured out the parts to put together. That's all it is. I'm working on something now. I have a new DIY thing coming. It says Naughty and Nice meter that was influenced by Tony Tran's Start Me device on his episode last year, Light Fight. I just sketched it out. I could actually show it to you, but I don't know if I'm ready to break the secret yet. I haven't worked out. I'm going to finish it this weekend. The other thing, I built a blow mold factory last year that uses a conveyor system. And in one of the groups, somebody over, I think it was in Australia, United Kingdom, I sketched it out. I know it looks like gibberish. He built one afterwards, inspired by seeing us in our groups. So my point is, get involved in the groups. They'll help you with projects. They'll help you expand your passion, and you'll create friends forever.
Yeah, Maria says she does it for the children. So much negativity in the world. It's nice to have something bright and exciting outside to see. So yeah, I think during COVID we probably all saw an increase in traffic because you had to do stuff outside and you had to do stuff with your family. So I think, yeah, COVID kind of brought up, I think, an insurgence in this hobby because people needed something to do or they had to stay with their family but still stay separated. They went to go see holiday light displays. Like, that's cool. I want to do that. So
I agree with that, Charlie. That's when a lot of during COVID, that's when I think a lot of the big displays had upticks in um,
yeah.
attendance. We definitely seen an increase there, and it was something to do. And that's, it's nice to see that Christmas lights were able to make, many people smile when we were having all that stuff going on around our country.
Any that you know of so far? You're still shy of 10. Any shows in New York this year?
For upcoming shows. Hmm.
Rob's on the
Hold
ball
on.
with your trivia.
No, I have it. Bear with
Oh, I'm
me.
certain you do. Yeah.
I just gotta.
Yeah. Evelyn's saying it's a passion for the hobby. Have a passion for the hobby and be original if you want to be on the show.
So, from what I know, the 14 families so far. Of course, we have the Slankards in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. But we also have, I'm not going to call it names, even though they've announced it publicly on their site, but it's up to them if they know it. I just only call it Slanker because they're on the group. Um, Once again, there are at least 4 families from Texas that will be on. There's a family from Ohio who's one of your viewers. Um,
Mm-hmm.
there's a family from Illinois, a family from Indiana. There's a fellow family from California. We do have somebody from New Jersey, somebody from Missouri. We have an Arizonan and a Californian. So no, nobody from New York, unless they're in those other 10 I haven't found yet.
Fair enough. And Robert's saying, how do you find your Christmas groups?
A lot of them I found, for example, being on a show like yours, I've heard somebody mention them. I Google the ones I like. So I like Blowmolds. So I search Blowmolds. A lot of the groups I'm in now were former Planet Christmas members. So they were in their subgroups that are focused. That's a good way to do it. Go to the
And
minis, go to those.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Gitano's asking the 14 families you're referring to are families that filmed last year will be in this year's, correct?
Correct. So you film the year before and they're the following year. Um, just think people that are going to be on season 13 will start
Mm-hmm.
filming. They're setting up now. They're going to be filming as
Yeah.
the earliest they filmed the year we did was the last week of October. So they'll be starting to film soon for Christmas for season
And then
13.
yeah. Yeah. So I need to put a video out. I've been thinking about doing this, haven't done. I need to get on the ball and do a video about, hey, you want to be on the Great Christmas Light Fight. Here's how you do it. And it's basically me just gonna mimic what Kristen said when she was on the show, and she told everybody how to do it. But that's one of the major questions. One of the questions we get asked the most often is how do you film and stuff. So not to mention for all your Great Christmas Light Fight merch.
Maybe I should sell this. I'll probably get in
There you
trouble.
go. There you go. Anything else we need to know about the show? About your experience on
Um,
the show? Anything else you want to share?
I'll just share a couple things. I popped up a couple more slides just to kind of maybe wrap things up, and I'll stay open for
Yeah.
questions if you want. But um, just a couple of cool things. After you do your filming, uh, it's kind of cool getting the trophy delivered. So on the screen now is um, kind of some pictures of our last moments of Light Fight. It's when the producers and the cast and crew all go away. You became friends with them. They were like family, and you get to spend time with the trophy yourself. So that's Maggie coming up to our Ring doorbell, bringing the trophy. Um, there's some of the executive assistant producers, our sound guy. There's our cats in there enjoying the trophy too. It was really a fun experience, and I think that's a cool part. It's kind of so after you win the trophy, they take it from you. They're using it to film a lot of different things and squeezing in scenes. Tanya might be doing something with it, or the producer might be. As a matter of fact, this is an interesting fun fact. Um, if you ever go look at a promo of Light Fight any season, whether it's the episode before it comes on TV or you go to their Facebook page and they're doing a promo, they always kind of show this who's going to compete for the light fight and win $50,000 and the prize coveted trophy. And they always have a montage and showing lights. Last
Yeah.
year, we were, and they didn't pick us to do this, it would just happen to be random. They used our trophy in every episode and showed it at the beginning of every episode. So if you look at the screen here, that's our cameraman um, filming the trophy up against the left side of my house, and the right is they blur it on the back so you can't tell whose house it is. They
Yeah.
showed ours all year long. I thought that was kind of cool.
Very cool.
And then last two things I'll share that I think will be interesting. You know, you gain more experiences. We've searched down the red car. We didn't talk about it too much, but when they line up all the families that are going to be on a season, they also line up a red car in the town of every person. They don't film a red car scene in case you win. They line up a car. So
Right.
in the case of ours, we found out by accident that the gentleman that owns the car is or was an umpire in the youth baseball league my son played in, and he lives 2 miles from us. So last year, we filmed in 22. Last year in 23, after our Light Fight aired, we had a grand finale night, and we arranged for him to bring the car out, and we had it on our driveway. He dressed as Santa.
That's so cool.
We had the trophy out. We were showing it around with people. We lit a fireworks display off, which I won't do again this year. Caught a little flack for that, but it was fun while I did it. um, uh, you get some other cool experiences out of it. And then finally, the last experience I'll say that's really even more fun, in my opinion, is Christmas lights and Light Fight does bring you an extended Light Fight family forever. These
Yeah.
are just a few pictures from many of the different families that we have met um, since being on the show. Not everybody's pictured here. I have hundreds of pictures, and some of it's from Trans World, some of it's from the East Coast Haunters Convention, some is from the Christmas Expo, some's from the Florida Mega Mini, some's from some other smaller minis. But we've met all types of people that do different displays. I've made great, great friendships. One of my nicest friends I met that was on season one of our last year, the episode one was Gary Serlin. He did the New City North Pole Airport. That's him running away with my trophy. He's visited my display. I visited his. I got to fly the simulator that he has.
That's
That Carter
right.
couldn't land the else. I got to do it, and I landed it.
Yeah.
We got to meet a lot of the people that now have businesses in the show. We got to be a part of the Light Fight loser group photo picture there. That's a picture of us on the right with AJ Rochester in the pink fur coat. They allowed, that's usually like a rite of passage they do. They allowed us to come in even though we were winners. Jordan was in there too. Down below that, we even got to meet the winner of Halloween Fright Fight from last year,
Yeah.
Layman Manor, and that's Miles McCabe. So got to meet Rodney Burton from Light Show fame with the Pixels last year. Daniel Allison, who I think should do an interview with you, got to meet him.
Mm-hmm.
Bob Spacey, who did the Scary Christmas House last year. Mickey and Minnie Bouse. I mean, it's just, you get to meet a lot of cool people. Tom Stallings, the Bigda family, the Sablick family. It's just an amazing, amazing experience. And I'm hoping to do more this year as I travel. And I think you would get to do the same. The Mirandas, the Hellowells, Ho Hennessy, who owns Boscoyo Studios now, Calvin Slater, Darren Hufty. I mean, we've gotten to meet the Wilhelm family. We just got to meet so many, the Morkowski family. I'm trying not to miss him. Brady, of course, and AJ and everybody. The Watkins family that did the big Vegas inside display with the all the animatronics. We get to meet all these cool people. So it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate getting to share the experiences with them and now sharing it with you on this hopefully not too long YouTube video.
No. I love it when we're just having a conversation here. People are asking questions, they're engaged, and we're just having a conversation. It's awesome. Of course, just thanks so much, Brian. Appreciate you sharing your experience with us. Giatala said, "You have no idea how much you've helped me, Brian. Thanks to you and Charlie for this. Priceless." See, Rob said there's a guy near me. He's been setting up for a couple weeks, and now he's supposed to maybe be on, but he got told he needed more lights. And when you send your video into the light fight, they can say, "Hey, cool, we like what you're doing here, but maybe add this or this or this." They'll critique that for you.
Yeah.
Have you ever been asked to have your house taped for a movie? That's a good question.
So it is a good question. There is the answer is yes. We've been on a lot of TV shows over the years. We've been on. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
We've been on ABC, Fox, local news stuff like a lot of you have been. Um, Actually was on the Weather Channel a long time ago because of my Lightorama section. They showed that. But to answer your question, it's coming out this year. The Hallmark
What?
Channel the Hallmark Channel has a new app coming out this year where they're going to stream stuff. I don't know if they'll stream it on the TV as well. And there is a new Christmas light display show, and they did approach us last year. They were going to originally film homes between Philadelphia and Bethlehem, PA, and some in between. I think it changed a little bit, and it was going to be hosted by some of the famous Hallmark people. I forget what it's called, but there is a new Hallmark show coming out this Christmas, and it has Mike Ziemkowski on here. Mike Z, if you're familiar with him, he does the big animatronic display in California where he has Santa, the DJ jingles, and he has this Frosty and Krista Claus singing, and he has the elves dancing. He's on it. There's a family from New Jersey on it. I think there's a few other families. So I'm looking forward to seeing that in addition to Light Fight this year.
Well, that's very
So, yeah,
cool.
we
I
haven't
had
asked
no
by the
idea.
Hallmark
That's
Channel.
awesome.
We just never made the cut.
Say it again.
We were asked to be filmed by Light Fight. We did a full interview of them just like we did with Light Fight, but we didn't make the cut.
Oh, yeah.
Guess we weren't good enough. See?
Fair enough.
Okay.
Fair enough. No, yeah, I said we normally do this for an hour, but I love that you were kind enough to stay on longer and have a little chit chat. And we'll maybe, hopefully, maybe be on and watch some light fight shows live, and maybe we'll have like we'll debate who should win and why we think they should win, and have some fun with that. And maybe that'll be an upcoming show.
I think it'd be so much fun. I hope we can pull it off. Jordan, we're gonna get it ready.
We are going to have some fun. Yes, thank you so much for coming on the show. Let me drop this out. Yeah, I got that bad boy right there. Let's go.
Got it right there. What's better, that or my 1930s barber pole that I restored?
I love the barber pole. I said that when we first. That's phenomenal. We were chatting before we went live. Like, that's so cool. Your background's awesome. Well, folks, that's about it for us today. Brian, hang tight. Don't let go. We'll talk here a second afterwards. But that's about it for us today, guys. Hey, I appreciate everybody tuning in with your questions. If you liked what you saw today, want Brian back, let us know. Maybe we'll have him back for another episode. Maybe we'll be on for a Christmas Light Fight podcast critique live, Manning Vision style.
That'd be awesome. And Charlie, my contact information is on there. Or look us up, the Michael Family Christmas Display, and we'll get back to you.
Yep.
Sorry to interrupt you. I just want to make sure people know I like to help people. Reach out to me. We have the Discord channel, right, Charlie? I just joined that. I'm not too active on it. It's a little awkward. Maybe it's because I'm not used to it.
You're good.
Reach out to me.
Yeah, join us on Discord. We're chatting on there every day, all the time. If you want to resource, someone earlier was asking about clubs. That's a great resource for you. That we're all decorators on there. But yeah, we'll see you folks in the next video. Bye, guys.